Hello.
Oh hey, what up?
Hello.
What's going on? I actually hit record while I was doing that.
So we're in it, is what you're
So
saying.
we're in it. I mean, I could
Of our
stop.
usual 2 minutes of prep before we jump into this thing.
Exactly. So
Cool.
I'll stop recording and then we'll jump back into it.
Okay.
All right. Well, now that we have composed ourselves and collected ourselves after that very fun little not staged at all opening, we will get into the meat and potatoes of this episode. We are the Say Report. Apparently, I've been saying the title wrong. I guess it's just Say Report Jr. It's
Oh,
not.
I guess we don't have the at the
It's
beginning of
not
ours, do we?
the Say Report Jr. But I mean, so we're Say Report Jr. It doesn't roll off the tongue as much. I don't know. Anyways, so apparently I've been saying it wrong, but welcome to Say Report Jr. I am one of your hosts, Dale Decker, and I am joined by...
Oh,
I
dang it.
totally messed that up. That was my fault.
No, it's not, because I would just assumed we would do it. You just said last week we were going to start doing that. And I'm your other host, Zach Sarowick. Hi.
So, yep, we are a podcasting duo who have never met in person and are building a friendship online through the magic of podcasting. And because our siblings, coaxed us into doing it.
Coaxed by asking us, and then like a month later, us going, "Hey, we still doing this?"
Yeah, exactly. They threw it out in the air, and then we just responded, and then here it is. So, anyways, let's just get into it. I mean, you said you have some stuff to talk about, and
yeah.
what have you been doing?
So let's see. A couple things. The quick stuff is that I watched Shoot 'Em Up again at like midnight last night. Have you ever seen Shoot 'Em Up
Nope.
with Clive Owen and Paul Giamatti?
No, but I love both of them.
It came out literally my senior year of high school, so this was around the same time that like the Grindhouse movies came out, and Sin City, and like this whole like rash of like just kind of dumb, almost 2010s super stylistic, quote unquote, action films. So Shoot 'Em Up was just like it is. And this is not actually a joke. It's a Bugs Bunny cartoon. The guy that wrote and directed it wanted to make an action film that also tracked as a Bugs Bunny cartoon. And so Clive Owen is chewing on carrots the whole movie. And like Paul Giamatti, of course, is an actor that, no shade to Paul Giamatti, looks like Elmer Fudd. And there is in fact a scene where like Paul Giamatti is like is like confronting Monica Bellucci is the female lead in this. He's confronting her, and then Clive Owen steps up from behind him, puts a gun to his head, chews on a carrot, and says, "What's up, Doc?" And then Paul Giamatti turns around and says, "Oh, you wascally wabbit!" Like they were not hiding it in the least.
Like so unapologetically.
Not at all. And that's why this movie works. And that's exactly why the movie works, because it is dumb from start to finish. The story is completely like way over the top. It's like he's like protecting a baby the whole movie because this like pregnant woman. The opening scene is Clive Owen just sitting on a bench chewing on a carrot, and this pregnant woman just runs by him in the middle of the night, and he's just like.
So it's Children of Men, but with.
Kind of. If Children of Men didn't take itself seriously at all. Like this woman runs by him,
yes.
and then this guy pulls up in his car and just slams it into another car, gets out, chases her down an alley with a gun. Clive Owen goes in to save her. She gives birth as they're shooting at like a bunch of people. It is insane.
It's beautiful. I need to see this movie now.
It's so good. I think it was on HBO a little while ago. I'm not sure if it's still up there, but it's definitely worth a watch. And going in and going like you cannot, like every scene you're gonna go, what the hell? And you just have to know you're gonna come out the other end. Like,
can I just say that Clive Owen is probably one of, like, I don't talk about it enough, but he's probably one of my favorite actors, like, ever. I just love him so much, and it might be because I had to watch Closer, like 100 times, and write 4 papers on it, but I just love him so much.
Clive Owen is so weird because like there was like maybe a 5-year period there where he like was for some reason the go-to guy. So like
Yeah.
Sin City comes out and he's excellent in that. And then all of a sudden like Shoot 'em Up is out, and then Closer comes out, and then Children of Men.
Yep.
And then he's in Inside Man from Spike Lee the year after that. And then all of a sudden he's gone again.
Well,
like he's on the Nick now. But other than that, like he basically went back to England and just did stuff there, which is like
he's on the Mick?
Not the Mick, the Nick.
Oh, the Nick.
K-I-N.
I don't know why I heard the M, but okay. I was very surprised.
I was like, wait, hold on.
I was like, how is he on the Mick?
No.
He was in a movie called Words and Pictures, I believe.
Never heard of it.
That we saw in it's with I can't think of her name. This is not going to be this episode.
No.
We are not.
I very purposely didn't try to remember who wrote Shoot 'em Up, because I was like, I don't even want to begin.
So, Words and Pictures. Yeah, no. Anyways, so moving on. Words and Pictures was it was a movie about two professors. One of them was an art professor, and one of them was like a literature professor or a creative writing professor, and they like had this weird chemistry kind of between them, but they also hated each other. And it was basically like, I can convey so much more through pictures. Oh, but I can convey so much more through words. That's literally what that's pretty much what it was.
Oh my god, that sounds
it wasn't. I have to watch it again, because I remember watching it that first time and being like, I kind of like this, but I don't know why I like it. Like, it's not that good, but I'm finding some. Cause again, it's Clive Owen, so like in a sense,
sometimes that's all it takes is like get a good cast, and the rest of it doesn't matter. And that's really like Shoot 'em Up is entirely built on just these two, on Paul Giamatti and Clive Owen. That's it. Yeah. This movie would not work otherwise. Because you really do spend half the movie going, how the fuck did they get these two to do this movie?
Yeah, like, that's a really cool matchup. That's fantastic. Oh my god, adding it to the list.
So that was at like midnight last night for whatever reason to put that back in. But before that, I spent like it's only been what, 3 days since we recorded? 4?
Yes.
Friday night. So yeah. So since then, I've been playing the Mad Max video game because it was free on PS Plus this month. It was one of those.
Oh, was it? So I have
the other one is Beyond Two Souls from David Cage, the one with Ellen Page and Willem Dafoe. That's actually supposed to be the worst of their games, which is funny because they've got the two most famous people in them that they've ever had. But yeah, so I went back to play the Mad Max game, which I had played before. After Fury Road came out, this was very quickly produced by WB to go out with Fury Road. Same people, I think, that made the Shadow of Mordor games, and of course the Bat games, like WB Interactive. And then the game was actually developed by the same team that made the Just Cause games. Avalanche. Yep. So that being said, Fury Road being this like amazing action thrill ride, and then Just Cause games being known for big, goofy, stupid stunts, you go into Mad Max thinking this is going to be great, and it's mediocre, unfortunately.
I always wanted to play it because of how much I love Fury Road.
Yeah, it's got like 1,000 little elements I absolutely love, but none of them quite come together. Like they're separated by the vast openness of the world that they created, that it almost like it just doesn't connect the way that it should, which is unfortunate because I really do like a lot of the parts of this game, and I really do like the concept of it. It's just like it's just too big is the weirdest thing about it. Like it was at the height of WB doing their big open world stuff. You know, like the Arkham games were doing huge. I don't know. I think Shadow of Mordor had already come out, so they were really jumping on this like open world thing. But the freaking desert they put you in, there's so much space between things that you forget. Like you don't have that like constant momentum of like Fury Road being a car chase from start to finish. And there's always stuff going on. And even though they're going across these like vast kind of expanses of wasteland, they're always very contained within what's going on between the cars, right?
Yeah. Okay.
So like there's always this bouncing between the cars. People are jumping all over the place. They're getting thrown into rocks and all of that. And you get car chases like that. One of the big things one of the side mission collectible things is to attack convoys just like that, and those are always really fun because there's like 6 and 7 cars whizzing around you, and you're trying to get to one specifically and not blow up, and that's always great. But then you do that, and that's it for the region. You're like it's pretty much just open world. Go to a place and beat up some guys and get some stuff.
Well,
and it's like, damn it.
That's who Mad Max is, though.
It is.
He wanders the world.
But in the movies, you don't see most of that in between stuff.
That's true.
I think that's what it is that like you don't see
the boring shit.
You don't see the boring. You don't see the boring like 20 minutes of driving to get from one space to the other. Exactly. Especially because once you empty out a region, the bad guys are gone. Like there's 2 or 3 cars still that you might run into, but once you've emptied out a space, there's no reason to go back to it. And it's because otherwise it's just this big wide open nothing, and you're not doing anything with it, which sucks. But the stuff I do like about the game is like it's got a very Mad Max story going on. His car, he gets in the opening cutscene, he gets grabbed by actually what you end up finding out later is like a Morton Joe's son who is called what is it? Scrotus something. Scrotus Scrotus Scabus or something ridiculous
awesome.
like that. And so like you get attacked by him, and then his car gets taken and completely dismantled. And so the purpose of this game is you're trying to rebuild your car. You come across this guy that is pretty much the hunchback from 300. Do you remember the little hunchback guy they find and they meet in 300 that ends up betraying them later?
No, I've never seen 300.
Oh,
yeah,
how dare you!
I know. I'll add it to my list too.
He meets Quasimodo.
Okay, yeah, that's better.
But guy's completely insane and has decided that Max is a like saint sent from the heavens to help him build this magnificent car, and we're gonna go get. So like all of the interactions with this guy is he's like calling you saint every other word, and he's like talking about just how glorious it is, how great this car is going to drive from it's going to get us from one end of the world to the other in 5 seconds, and it's like he's all over the place, and I love him. I love every interaction with him. But and then you meet your different characters as you go through, and like it's your basic open world control map kind of thing, so every region is run by someone and they're always kind of interesting. But even then, like, that starts to wear thin because it starts to feel like they mashed what were, like, 3 really kind of thin Mad Max stories together.
Cool.
Which is what makes which is why that world feels kind of a little too big, because, like, if they had subtracted one region from the whole thing, the game would probably be much better.
Yeah.
It just gets a little long in the tooth. But yeah, otherwise, though, like, all of the elements of Mad Max are there. The War Boys are in it. The different cars you get are in there. You get into these like really like meaty bar brawl type fights. Like the way you fight is not like Batman, even though it's like same kind of control scheme. Like you're just punching and then countering, just like Batman does in the Arkham games. But instead of it being like really controlled, you don't have 1,000 different tools to use. It really is just your fists and some knives and whatever weapons they come running at you that you can steal off of them. And it's like you're in a fucking bar brawl every time you get in a fight, and you get the crap beat out of you, and you're beating them back, and it feels really good. But again, there's so much time in between those fights that you kind of forget that as you're driving around.
I got you.
So, but yeah, if you've got PS Plus and you're getting it for free, it's definitely worth a shot.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
That's the thing.
Yeah. So it takes place presumably after Fury Road, it seems.
Essentially,
right?
yes.
Yeah. Furiosa never shows up, right?
No, you don't see any character. You're not seeing any characters from the movies, because at the same time, like it was like if you never saw Fury Road but bought Mad Max before you see it, like it doesn't spoil anything or anything like that. Like, so
that's good.
That's really good.
That's good for 2 reasons, because it's not like, oh, I need to see the movie in order to understand this game. Like presumably, like the good thing about Mad Max, I think, is that especially like all you need to know is that the world it's a post-apocalyptic, people are crazy and they're doing anything to survive, and
which they give you at the beginning, just like every Mad Max movie.
Exactly. Yeah. Like that's why I've never seen Beyond Thunderdome or why can't I think of
Road Warrior or the original Mad Max?
I've seen the first Mad Max movie, original Mad Max movie, but I haven't seen the sequels other than Fury Road.
Okay.
So
yeah, and again, they're all completely disconnected stories, so that's okay.
Which I love to think of, because that's why I asked about Furiosa, because as much as I love that character and she's badass, and at the end of Fury Road and Mad Max, well, spoilers for Fury Road. if you haven't seen it after years of it being out, when Max walks away, like, that is so cool to me as an ending, because I know that I'm never gonna see Furiosa again. Or I hope that
right.
I'm,
Well, or
because like
she
I
has
want
served
to
her
see
purpose
exactly.
essentially.
Like
She's
I
doing
want
exactly what she wanted to do. Yeah.
exactly, and he helped, so now it's for him to move on. Like he can move on, and like that's cool to me that she never shows up in the video game, because she shouldn't. Like
Right.
that's not what that is. you know. So
Right, and
that makes me
it's
very
perfect 'cause,
happy.
like Max on paper is a perfect video game protagonist because
Yeah.
like the original Mad Max is when it's most about him, but Road Warrior, Thunderdome, Fury Road, none of those movies are really about Max. He just happens to be there.
Exactly.
He happens to wander in.
He just shows up, helps them, and then leaves.
Right, and it's usually because he needs something like, oh, I need gas,
Yeah,
and the only way to
exactly.
get gas is because these people want me to help them, and like that's like perfect video game storytelling right there, which is like you don't need to know anything about this protagonist you're playing. He just needs to show up, do the job, and leave. And like one of the only thing that really carries over into the game is like he's consistently going crazier, which I think you see in Fury Road too, when he's like talking to himself half the time and he's like seeing. But yeah, so that's like that kind of comes up a little bit. There's like one character that every time you want to go and kind of like level up your skill set and stuff, he gives you this big kind of monologue about how you're constantly going crazier and you should be better, you should be going and like talking to people, and Max is fighting him. He's like, no, I just want to live my life alone, even though it's clearly driving me insane. It's like that's like the only real connective tissue, and you don't need to see anything to get that. You just need to understand that Max is a very lonely and disturbed person for what is supposed to be a hero character.
You basically the thing that you need to know about the Mad Max character is that his family was killed, and then he went out and took his revenge on the people who killed his family, and now wanders the world pretty much.
Yeah, to pretty much just trying to just live his life and get it over. Like never really wants to help people, but is constantly roped into it.
Exactly.
And feels a need to just help people for whatever reason it is, whether it's selfish or not. And so like he's just like, oh yeah, I need a thing. These people need help. I'm gonna do it, and then I'm gonna go be alone again. And and consistently is pulled back into whatever craziness is going on around him, whether he likes it or not, which is really, really nice.
Yeah.
And it again, like it's in the game, and it's along with all of these other things that make Mad Max great. And it's just like so unfortunate that like then there's times where you're just like, okay, it's the same problem you get with every open world game, is that it just the repetitiveness of it starts to wear on you a little bit.
Yep.
But I do know I haven't gotten to it back in this replay. I played the whole game once already, but there is a guy that's like completely wrapped up in Christmas lights and makes you go get him more. Like that's a whole mission. Is to go into this mall that's been buried by the sand dunes and go get me more Christmas lights because I want to feel pretty.
That's great. That's fantastic.
So yeah,
man.
that's been most of my last few days. That's pretty much it. Yeah, I mean, open world shenanigans. Oh, that was the other thing that came up. Speaking of Mad Max, and Avalanche as well, who's developing it. About a week ago, I don't know if you saw this going around Twitter or if it made it to any other online things at all, but Walmart Canada put up on their website this like weird placeholder page of a whole bunch of games that may or may not be coming out. Really? So it's considered like the first like possible E3 leak, but no one's really sure. It's like where it's like you can pre-order all of these games that no one even knew was coming out.
Oh wow!
And so it's like a bunch of black boxes with titles, and for the most part, people were like either they're doing this based on rumor and just trying to get ahead of E3, or there's some stuff coming out we don't really know.
Yeah.
And then Bethesda goes and starts making fun of this photo because one of the games on there is Rage 2. Did you ever play Rage?
No.
So Rage was the first game A lot of people didn't. It's okay. Rage was the first game to be developed between Bethesda and id Software, id that made Doom and Quake back in the day. Bethesda bought them out at some point, and this was the first game that they made, which was essentially like if you took like Fallout and Mad Max and made like a first-person kind of action-y open world game. So, like the world was destroyed by an asteroid. You come out of a vault, like literally come out of a vault, out of like cryogenic sleep into a new like wasteland world. It was very derivative of all the Fallout games.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But first person and like the shooting was excellent and the driving was really cool. Like there were some great elements to it. It just never really picked up steam. Also, not a game that anybody ever expected to get a sequel, especially because it like made Doom 2 years ago and it was excellent. And like they just had Quake launch and like they're trying to get that back on track. No one really thought that this game was ever going to get a sequel for any reason. But Bethesda in the last couple of years has randomly been giving the weirdest game sequels. Like Evil Within 2 came out last year.
Oh, yep. Oh.
And was brilliant compared to the first one, especially. So it was just like, oh, apparently Bethesda's just swinging for the fences on a bunch of dumb stuff. So they get Avalanche to now make Rage 2. So for a couple of days, they're trolling this Walmart photo, talking about, oh, you've got the font all wrong. And oh, we think it needs some color. Let's splash some neon yellow and hot pink onto this thing. And so everyone's like okay, so Rage 2 is coming. Which of course then got everybody going, well, if Rage 2 is right on this page, what else is right on this page? I'm not so interested in that because we'll figure it out as it comes. But it was just really weird that Bethesda apparently just went, we're not even going to bother hiding this thing.
Yeah.
And so yesterday they released a gameplay trailer for Rage 2. And it's developed by Avalanche, and it looks exactly like the Mad Max game if it was a first-person shooter and had like a much higher budget or something.
Nice.
Or like was like it really looks like Avalanche is just getting the chance to remake Mad Max, but doing it under the Rage title.
That's fantastic.
Like down to the fact that like the War Boys in the Mad Max game, you find some of them that are coated in like hot pink and yellow and blue paint.
Really?
And that's the three colors that are like associated with Rage 2. Like
wow.
they are very clearly just remaking the Mad Max universe, but with all of the freedom that comes with not being tied to Warner Brothers.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
So
I'm
really hoping that E3 we see like a big showing from Bethesda on that. Like they showed the gameplay, and the gameplay is again, big. There's like a swampy. It looks like a swampy area, and there's a desert, and there's a lot of earth tones and kind of like that muted color scheme that you get out of like big wasteland games. And I really want to see something big and flashy from them at E3. Like that just shows more color to it. That's all I need, and I'm into this game. But I was just like so weird that like Walmart apparently screwed this thing up, and Bethesda went, we are making this into the biggest marketing thing we can right now.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, no, I didn't see that. You gotta send me that because now I'm curious.
Yeah, there was an announcement trailer and then a gameplay trailer the day after. So there's two up there that are
awesome.
Are great. So,
oof. Well, I mean, on the topic of that, so there's two things, but my friend shared with me a article about Pokemon Switch.
I did hear some stuff, but I haven't actually read anything about it.
So the article that I was sent was about domain name purchases.
Okay.
And the titles were Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Pokemon Let's Go Eevee.
So if that translates to a game, does that mean that rather than the traditional like 3 starter option to Pokemon, they're gonna just like you either get one version where you start with Pikachu or one version with Eevee? Do we think?
I mean, that's what it's because like Devin was talking and he saw that it was a Gen 1 remake. Which in the thing that I read, it said that it's going back to Kanto. So I don't know.
I mean, that wouldn't be the craziest thing in the world if they're going to make it 3D and everything. Like they're going to make it like a full-on RPG style, like 3D RPG thing. The idea of rather than going through the development process of creating 150 new Pokemon, they can then go with the ones they already have, model them,
exactly.
like develop them that way. That is not the craziest idea.
No. And I'd be okay with it. I would be totally okay with that. But it's also, wasn't there Pokemon Yellow where you started with the Pikachu and it followed you around?
Yes, because that was developed. Yes, because that was especially after the anime got really big.
Yeah.
So they were like, okay, so we're gonna create like a version of our first Pokemon game, but like that kind of tracks with the anime because you end up getting the other 3 starters throughout that game at some point, like as part of the story and all that. So.
And then,
yeah.
And then also in that, your rival gets the Eevee.
Yes.
So it makes sense that this would be what would happen, because like.
Oh my God, if they go through the effort of putting like Brock and Misty and Ash and all of that into it too.
Oh
okay,
God.
I just made myself excited.
I don't know. We were just talking about like leaks and possible announcements and stuff. So.
Well, now this is the game in my head. So if it's not this game, I'm going to be very disappointed.
No.
Go online and I'm going to scream a lot if this is not what I get.
Well, yeah. So I'm excited because the one thing out of Pokemon that I've wanted, and I think everyone has wanted, is for the Pokemon to follow you around and not have to be in the Pokeball the whole time. Because like. That I don't like that because like in the anime they get to walk around with you.
So the idea that at least Pikachu and Eevee would be there with you the whole time, like at least have them.
Exactly, that would be so cool. But then there's that new movie that's coming out. Also, have you seen anything about that?
I have not. No,
so,
is it the one that's based on? No, the anime that's based on Sun and Moon has been out for a while.
Oh my God! Also, that is terrible.
Is it?
I watch like I don't watch the Pokemon shows. I don't. I've only ever played the video games. I was like, I really like Sun and Moon, so I'm gonna watch the Sun and Moon anime on Netflix. And it starts, and it's just so bad.
I'll have to watch it. I could tell you right now. The original one is not as great as people remember.
Yeah,
it's just really charming as hell.
Yeah.
So like the idea that the new one's not super great, I bet you it's actually right along the line of the original.
I have no idea. I think the original has that nostalgia factor to it as well. But this one, it's just like you're playing through Sun and Moon and you have an idea of how people sound, or at least I do. Like in my head, I have voices for the characters based on how they talk and everything. And you meet up with Professor Kukui, and
is that Surfer Dad? That's Surfer Dad,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, okay.
Surfer Professor Dad.
Surfer Professor Dad. So in the game, like he's all like, yeah, bro, yeah, cousin, yeah. So I picture his voice as a surfer dude. And in the show, he has like the highest pitched voice.
Oh God, is it in English? Is it dubbed over in English?
Yeah. So
that is always a weird thing. Like that's a weird thing. Like especially because I guarantee you, if you listen to the Japanese version of that, his voice is 1,000 times deeper.
Exactly. Yeah. So I don't. Why does it? Why? And it's just like this is scary, and I don't know. I didn't even finish. I couldn't even finish the first episode because I was like, I can't get past his voice. Like I should be able to, but I can't.
Yeah, you should check is that Netflix might actually have the option to watch it in Japanese, with subtitles.
That might
there might be an audio option and see what the difference is there.
Yeah. I'll have to check that out. But no, there's a new movie coming out with I don't remember what it's called.
Is it the Detective Pikachu movie? Is that the one you're talking about?
No.
With Ryan Reynolds?
No, it's not that.
That's a real thing.
I know.
That's a real thing.
No, this one it's going to, it's not who. I don't even remember. It's but it has these new characters in it who we've never seen before, and they're very different sense of companions than we've seen before. It seems like, but people are speculating that there might be a new evolution that comes out because one of the girls in the group has an Eevee, and she's like so unique that they think that she might bring out a new evolution of the Eevee.
God, fans are
fans
are so weird. I love it. I love it every time fan theories come out because they're always insane.
Well, it's
I'm just thinking of.
What?
Oh, sorry. I'm just thinking like to pair up like Pikachu with Eevee, where you've got like Eevee who can beat anything, and Pikachu who just everybody likes, I guess. Like that's a weird pairing when you think about it, where it's like we took you can either have your nostalgia or you can have what is clearly the better option.
Pikachu and Eevee are best friends.
It's like Pikachu. It's not like there's an option to get like and also if you use this stone, Pikachu becomes like a water mouse. It's like no Pikachu just stays an electric rat the whole time. Like,
oh man,
and is kind of a jerk. Like,
I always secretly wanted Eevee to somehow become a Digimon. Going back to the Digimon conversation, like if somehow you were able to get the evolution to go back to Eevee and then give it a different stone or treat it differently, and you get the different. I don't really want this to happen because I would get torn apart inside because I wouldn't be able to choose. And I wouldn't be able to like max out my friendship, get a Sylveon and be like, yeah, I'm kicking you to the curb. I want an Umbreon now.
You know, you say that. So when I played Pokemon Sun and Moon, I legit got like 8 Eevees, so I would have a different one for each thing.
Oh, I did that.
You got the option and then I made sure I figured out how to evolve them all correctly. So I was like, "Yep, no, this is my entire team now." It's just like every type of Eevee.
I think I said the story of me like the first time I played through Pokemon was X and Y, like I said, and I got 8 Eevees, evolved them all, and then I beat the game using just Eevees. But with that Sylveon, I did not know. People are like, "Oh, Sylveon's the hardest one. Oh, Sylveon, you have to, get friendship and blah blah blah." And I'm like, "Well, that's the point of Pokemon." But anyways, never mind. We're gonna move on from that. You don't want your Pokemon to hate you. So anyways, but I completely maxed out the hearts on it because that's the one where you get to that's like really where it introduces like playing with your Pokemon and petting it and feeding it the beans and stuff. So I filled up all 5 hearts. So then I started getting boosts in fights. So I'm like, this is great. I don't know why people were complaining. And then I saw online that all you had to do in order for it to evolve was get it 2 hearts. So like I went way for, and it took me.
I love that there was like, we introduced this really important mechanic, but we don't want to make you go through a lot of the effort to use it.
And I like put in like a month and a half to. Because I was like off and on playing it to make that Eevee evolve, and I was like, whatever, I get the benefits, I guess. But yeah, so I don't know. I hope that there's a new evolution, but I don't know.
We're gonna start seeing the leaks come out now. So as we get closer and closer, like I know that they just announced they're doing a new Star Fox racing game.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
So that just got announced, but that wasn't part of the leaks or anything. They just announced that because I don't know, Nintendo. They don't care. They haven't cared about E3 for years. That's why they make a pre-recorded video now and they don't show up anymore.
Yeah. This is like kind of a fun time where it's like the speculations and the leaks are coming out now, and it's like this is fun. Like let's see what is real, and let's see the timeline because with the Pokemon thing in the article it said. Well, last year or whatever, whenever Sun and Moon came out, the domains were purchased, and then the next day the games were announced. So
yeah, I would imagine it's going to be part of the direct for E3,
exactly.
And it's probably going to be out for the holidays because they don't have anything planned right now. Not that they've told us anyway.
Yeah.
They're gonna hit a whole bunch of stuff that I guarantee you by the end of Nintendo's E3 thing, we're gonna know like what major games are coming out for like every month until December for Nintendo Switch.
Yeah.
So I would not be surprised if that's what they think. I know we know Smash is coming out.
Yep.
So Smash is coming out also probably around the holidays. So that will probably be like the month before. Like Pokemon might come out the month before that.
Yeah.
we there's the Star Fox racing game now. So we'll see. I think they've had a kind of slow second year, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
But
it really has been slow. But the other thing I wanted to talk about, moving away from Pokemon and E3, because we are going to have a big E3 discussion. So we gotta save.
You're gonna get 2 weeks of it from us, so don't worry about that.
We gotta save our energy a little bit. But I wanted to, because I replayed just having fun with the game, not doing a mission or anything, but Agents of Mayhem, which I don't know if you've played or heard of or anything like that.
That's the one from the guys that made Saints Row and everything, right?
Yeah.
So I played a bunch of Saints Row. I have not played any Agents of Mayhem.
Okay, so that's good. So I never played Saints Row at all. While working at GameStop, a commercial came on, and it was one of the commercials that I memorized because the music was cool and the character sounded cool. I had to take a quiz on it, and I was like sold on this game minute one. I was like, this is going to be, hopefully I'm going to love this game and it's going to be fantastic. And then I realized that it's like a spiritual sequel to Saints Row games. So I was like, well, crap. Like, I know nothing of those games. So I basically just read a Wikipedia real quick to kind of understand what was going on.
You didn't understand any of it because those games go off the friggin' rails pretty quickly.
It starts out just like gang stuff, and then we're in hell now. Like
it went from we want to do our own kind of GTA ripoff in 1, and then by 3 it's like there's like you're fighting like Macho Man Randy Savage,
yes!
And you're just like you're getting superpowers. 4 comes around and you're inside a computer and you're made a superhero, and also you go to hell afterwards. Yep. And one of the DLCs takes you to Santa's workshop. Like they're just all done.
They're just like they're games that like I now want to and need to play because of just how ridiculous they are and how ridiculous Agents of Mayhem is. So basically it's a third person shooter. Yeah. You choose a team of 3 people who you go out into the world of Seoul. You're in Seoul. You go out into the world and you can like flip between the characters and, use their different abilities. But before I even played the game, people were like leaking and coming up with theories and all this stuff, as people do, about the timeline of Agents of Mayhem and Saints Row. And I think someone...
Yeah. I do remember like bits and pieces of that.
Yeah, so I think someone was like, oh, well, at the end of Get Out of Hell, my manager actually was talking to me about this. She said that someone said that at the end of Get Out of Hell, does Gat is like, I want my own world, pretty much.
Yeah, so they just like split the timelines.
Yeah. Okay, so people are like, oh, so Agents of Mayhem is the world that Gat wanted. And I was like,
yeah, because
okay.
he shows up, doesn't he? In the game at some point?
So he was a DLC character if you pre-ordered the game. But I think you can buy him now at this point. But yeah, so he shows up as a playable character, and it's just ridiculous. But so I don't know how true that is, that this is his world that he came up with. But
it's as true as it should be. Like, I mean, the thing was that the company that made the Saints Row games went out of business, and so Agents of Mayhem was like a team that was most of those people were picked up by another company. Yes. Yeah, I think it was Deep Silver that picked them up and made this.
Yeah.
So
it's like, because you have Kingpin, who is from Saints Row, and then you have Yeti as well, who apparently is from Saints Row. I
honestly,
think so.
by the
I don't
time
even know.
I picked it up in 3, and by then there was already 1,000 characters I didn't recognize, and I was like, okay, sure.
The other characters might be from it too, but I don't know.
I think 3 is the one that starts out also as you're jumping off of a plane and shooting people as you skydive.
Really? That's awesome.
So,
but this game is so much fun. It's so broken and it's so easy. Like it's just mindless. Like, we're gonna throw these characters at you who do not give anything. They don't give a shit about anything. They say whatever the hell they want. They do whatever the hell they want. And it's just going to be so much fun. And hopefully you enjoy it. But that game is broken. There are mechanics of that game that is just... I watched a video of a guy literally... He walked into, like, the outside, like, undeveloped area of the game. He jumped on a building, on, like, the headquarters building, where you're just walking around, like, you can upgrade your weapons and stuff. And he walked around, and he's like, yep, this is, I don't know how to get back in.
I stepped outside the game.
This is, I am no longer in game right now. And I'm like, that's fantastic. But, you basically can't die. Well, you can. You can fail missions if all 3 of your agents, like, lose their health. But there's no fall damage. There's no, like, you could literally fall off a building, like, just get pushed off a building and you will not die. There's no repercussions. Like,
excellent. That's wonderful.
And you basically teleport. Like, I don't know how, but you do. But it's so much fun. And the driving in it, I hate driving in video games, and I will literally drive to every single thing in that game because it's so much fun.
Like, that's a fair warning. Mad Max entirely driving, driving from everything. It's one of the few times where like I don't do like I've never ridden a horse in Skyrim. I never try to choose, like, I'll fast travel a lot, but I will run everywhere in every game. You have to just take the damn car in Mad Max, because otherwise you're just like hoofing it across desert for 20 minutes at a time. So anyway, quick tangent. Back to what you were saying.
No, that's fine. That's crazy though. No, yeah, the driving. Well, it's also you say that Mad Max is like huge. You would think that Agents of Mayhem would be huge. It's not. It's basically, the city is basically just a square. Like, there are different areas of it that you can get to, but you can get to any other area super quick, it feels like, with the car or just by running. Like, there are times where
the Saints Row games were never very big either, but they packed a lot in there.
So,
like, it's very dense.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's like, oh wow, okay. I was afraid that I would just get lost, but there were moments where I was trying to get to an objective. I start one place and I ended up back at that place because I was just like, oh, I went in a circle. Shit.
I took too many left turns. Get right back where I was.
Yeah, but it's so much fun, and I feel like not a lot of people have played it. But it's great. The little quips that they have. There's my favorite mission, one of the characters, her name is Daisy. She pretty much has a Gatling gun, and she is like a roller derby queen.
Oh my god.
And she drinks. Like, she is a heavy drinker. So, her mission to unlock her, which again, you don't really have to buy anybody in this game, except for there are 2 DLC characters, Lazarus, I don't know, I can't pronounce that, and Safeword. They are 2 people she's a hacker, she's a hacker. So, they're downloadable, but they're $5, like, to get the character and their skins and everything unlocked for them pretty much. So, but you just play missions to unlock characters. So a Daisy's mission, you're going through and you basically wake up in a storage container and you have no idea how you got there. And you're just like, man, last night was really bad. And it keeps cutting between like present now, like daytime, to the night before. And you have to play through each timeline to, like, see what happened. And it's so cool. It is the coolest part of the game so far. Because it's... You end up doing, like, a robot fight club. You have to stop a dude from stealing paintings. And the whole time you're drinking, like, you just continue to drink and drink and drink. And it's like, this is fun. Good for you, game. Good for you.
That sounds like I'm glad it took that attitude with it from the Saints
Yeah.
Row games, because that's what a lot of those games were. Is like you're doing a bunch of dumb stuff, but with this completely like kind of like positive, goofy attitude to it, where it's just like Saints Row 4, you're the president when you start this
Oh
game,
yes.
and when the
Yes.
aliens
Because the
attack.
aliens there.
And
Yep,
it's like,
yep.
but
I've
it's
read
like,
that.
so like the whole game is like, oh, we have to keep the city safe and the people safe because these are the people that have made us. They made me president, so I have to go and help them now. And it's like that's like the dumbest reason for doing something. But
Yeah.
sure, okay, yes, sure. Like they do not care about anything other than putting fun stuff in front of you to jump around and just like goof off.
Yeah.
For
Well, that's what I was doing the other night, and because I did not have enough time to. It was just literally just a pastime. I didn't have enough time to do a full mission. I didn't have enough time to unlock a character, so I'm like, I'm just gonna run around Seoul and see what I can do in this world. And there are mini games, pretty much, where you can go and like race a car or do like time trials and stuff like that. So I did a race where I had to get to a certain point within a certain time limit, and just that, like, those are some of the most boring things, like boring mini games. Like, I always thought those kind of things were boring when I was a kid, but this, I was like, no, I want more of this. More racing, please, in Agents of Mayhem, and I will be happy. So it's literally like, if you want to play the game, play the game. If you want to just blow shit up, let's do that, you know? Because there are also villains throughout the world, so you can just like walk into a group of villains and just start shooting and gain experience by not doing anything that progresses the story along. And I'm like, I usually hate these elements, but there's something about it that this game it's like one of my favorite games of all time now. Like, but so I definitely recommend it if you can get your hands on it.
No, good. It's unfortunately, like you said, it did not sell well, which also means it's going to be cheap at some point.
Oh
and
yeah,
I'll have to
definitely.
pick it up. I think the biggest thing that happened was I mean, I don't pay attention to marketing on anything anymore because I live on the internet and don't see ads for anything. But marketing was probably not great, and I think a lot of people were like, "Well, it's not Saints Row 5. What the heck?" But it sounds like it is essentially Saints Row 5. Like that sounds like a lot of fun.
Yep.
Like that definitely sounds like something that's going to be worthwhile at some point.
Yeah,
So.
it doesn't take itself seriously. I mean, yeah, there are villains, but it's just so cheesy and just so much fun. Like, and it seems like it has that. It seems like it kept the campiness from Saints Row, and just continued with it and made it more ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, good. That's really good.
Yeah, and the dialogue is good. Like I said, the quips in it, and just like you'll be walking around. Like I said, you have like a little headquarter area, and you can be walking around. And that's where you can like dive into the backstories of some of the characters. So like some of the characters have relationships with each other, which is cool because you can see who matches up with who, and then if you want them on the same team, whatever, be that person. But it's like it's really cool because there are characters who are like in like part of LGBTQ society, like that area. So two of the characters, Friday, who is this, she's like the information woman, and then there's a character who is she was in the military, and they have a relationship. And so whenever you're playing as Badrock, who is the military woman, you'll be going through, and like Friday's in her ear being like, you need to come home to me. And it's like, oh, I will. I promise I will. Like, and she'll just be like, why are you doing this? She'll just like say those little comments. But if you play as someone else, there will be different Friday comments. So it's really nice that it's customizable. It's customizable to exactly
the teams. Yeah.
I do like playing as Badrock though. Yeah, because I like hearing the whole like the little interactions between her and Friday, because it's just so adorable, and it's like, you guys really do love each other, and I want that to continue. Like, it's good. Yep.
Well, good. That's everything I have for this week. It's late. It's been a short week because
it really
we
has.
recorded 4 days ago. So, I can't think of anything. I got nothing. I was gonna.
No,
all words went out of my brain.
It's unfortunately a shorter. I mean, it's a 50-minute episode. Like, it's a shorter episode, but I mean, that's what happens when you only have like
a handful of days in between. Yeah.
A mini week between.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. Oh man. Well, so do you want to take a go at the sign off?
I've never done that before. Okay.
You haven't?
I've never done the very end of it. I've, said my name, but this has been Say Report Jr. I've been one of your hosts, Zach Sarowick. You can find me on Twitter at Zerwisky at any time. And
I am Dale Decker. I totally missed it. This is bad. You can follow me on Twitter at Dale's Brain. And you can also follow the podcast itself at Say Report Jr.
Cool. That's going to be it for this week. We'll see you next week at the normal time.
I think
our schedule's going to start.
We won't see them.
You'll hear us then at the normal time. As we're coming up on our 10 episode. We're coming up on 10 episodes in a couple of weeks. That's exciting. We've got E3 coming up in a few weeks, and like we said, we're going to have a couple of special episodes for you then. So until next time, take it away, Liz. Bye.
Thank you for listening to The Say Report with your hosts Dale Decker and Zach Sarowick. Please follow the guys on Twitter and Facebook by searching for The Say Report, and you can always subscribe on your podcast channel so this is delivered straight to you and you can enjoy it every week. With apologies to your mother, we'll see you next time.